to all the Physio TV viewers. So, welcome to another session of Roadless Travel. Today, we have with us a very eminent speaker who's also our alumni, Dr. Asha Sheikh Ma'am. Asha Sheikh Ma'am is a medical classifier for paracycling in Switzerland, and Ma'am is also working as a physiotherapist for Indian paracycling team, and she also has an extensive experience and a great interest in the very subject. I think more than us, we would like to hear from Asha Sheikh ma'am. So, coming to the interview, my first question to you, ma'am, is can you tell us about your educational background and what exactly inspired you to take physiotherapy and community physiotherapy?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon to all the viewers of Physio TV, and big thank you. And it's a great warm gesture that being the alumni, I always get the privilege. So about my background, yes, I did my UG from KJ Somaya College and PG from Sancheti College. And after that, because of the did my masters in community. As being in the community, as you know, we get extensive approach towards the society to give out our physiotherapy, uh, like physiotherapy knowledge, awareness to different state of the society. And so uh, where we had a different outreach postings. So one of the outreach posting was with person with disability with the prosthetic department of Sancheti. And that's how I got introduced to person with disabilities, and that's how it leaded ahead with my passion to work for much for the person with disability society.
Okay.
So, and again, how about I came into a para sports? Again, like I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to work with the cycling, one of the cycling expedition in 2016. So that's how my interest got developed. And later on, once I passed out, I did medical classification course, which is it's a course where a physiotherapist or orthopedic or the sports department, people who are involved into the sports, they can do this course where you learn about how to assess the different types of disability depends upon the different para sports, the adaptive sports. So there are medical classifier, the technical classifier. So for us, it is medical classifier.
Oh, okay. Ma'am, as you were talking about your journey, so can you just enlighten us that did you have any mentor or any role model who you could look up to during the whole process?
Okay. So about the mentor, I would say I've been fortunate enough to have mentored by all the PG, the UG teachers, senior physiotherapists, my batchmates, I would say, my parents, even few of the, like, always, like, to present the case, that was also a mentoring part, I would say. Like, that's how we learn from the different health condition. When we treat a case, that's how we evolve our self. So that's big. And being like, as an educational perspective and being a professional, like to being a proper professional ethics, to get into professional as a physiotherapist, I got to learn more in my PG during my PG days.
Okay, okay, great. Ma'am, can you walk us through a typical day of working as a Paralympic athlete, as a physio of a Paralympic athlete?
Ah, that's an interesting question. It varies for me because sometimes it is the off season, in season. So depending upon that, it changes. So I work in the organization Aditya Mehta Foundation, which is Asia's first para sports academy, and it is a multiple sports. So there are I don't know. Okay.
Yes, no problem, ma'am. We'll edit that part, not a problem.
Thank you so much. What was the query? I forgot
Uh,
about the
so, ma'am,
typical.
walking through your journey as a physiotherapist working with Paralympic athletes.
Yeah. So it for me it depends as it is as I'm working in one NGO Aditya Mehta Foundation, which is the Asia's first para sports academy. It is a multiple sports. So if it is a off season, it depends. And in season, for the off season, it is majorly about periodizing them to get into the proper goals. So ideally, my day starts with taking care whether the athletes have recovered or not from the previous day, whether it is a physical recovery, and then communicating with the team, whether it is a nutritionist one or even the psychological team or the biomechanic or the prosthetist one. Then if anyone has the injury, that goes into the rehabilitation. And in the second half, we have the team discussion. And sometimes I have on-field work or off-field work with the athletes, and the performance enhancement work goes. That's how it goes on.
Okay, ma'am. My next question is, how do you work alongside coaches and other medical professionals in team environment to support our para athletes?
So as you know, like to work in any of the sector, we have to work as a team. So that's how communication, I believe, is the important key. So, and to build up one athlete, it requires a whole lot of bunch of people, like a kind of a village. So that's how, so proper team discussion according to the goal of an athlete, we interact and discuss the case, which based upon their goal specific to maybe a monthly goal or maybe the annual calendar, which is related to each particular sports of an athlete.
Okay, okay. So as a community physiotherapist, since being the very community physiotherapist, even I think that our role is entirely different. We have to just think something out of the box apart from our clinical routine, which we practice. So my next question is very aligning with the same. So what do you think the most challenging or the most rewarding part of, treating such patients? Or I would not call them patients, I would call sportsmen.
Yes, it's always an honor, I feel, and privilege to work with the athletes who bring lots of medals for our country and to going through achieving a big milestone where a person from the grassroots, maybe a person with disability, have acquired disability at congenital level or maybe after a trauma. So they evolve in such a way that quality of life improve not as a physical but the social and the emotional well-being. They earn dignity, they earn respect through sports. Not only in sports, like when they achieve a particular like any technique, sport specific techniques, or during the rehabilitation after any kind of injury, it's create a big change in their life. So always it's always a rewarding, and to reach to a Paralympic goal for an athlete, it takes nearly about more than 4 years. Like for few athletes, it might be more than 10 decades. So you are living a life with them. So through with them, we also change, we learn a lot, and lots of change we see within our country also. So that has been rewarding for me because I have been into the Paralympic and Asian Games, both of the topmost world recognized games where athletes always love to participate and represent. And for first of all, like representing country, that's a different feel.
So, ma'am, because recently, because of the Fit India movement, because of uh, Paralympics as well as Olympics, India has been promoting sports a lot. So, from your experience, what change or what shift have you noticed specifically with related to physiotherapists? So now students are more into getting into sports physiotherapists. So, what would be your takeaway from your journey, what you have seen from the past years till today?
Yeah. See, earlier this health promotion campaign were not there, but after Fit India, the Viksit Bharat, and now upcoming is to 2036. I definitely feel there has been a great rapid change, and the reason one of this is one of them is us, the physiotherapists. We are also evolving, and they have created a lot of change. Earlier, like if you see, uh, inclusion for PWD was not much. It has been restricted to particular, maybe one area of their health, but later on the participation, whether it is related to social well-being or emotional well-being, physical well-being, has been improved. And they see beyond that. It's not only the vocational one, they can do the sports and adventurous type of activities also. So that has bring a change. At the same time, the knowledge and awareness has been also changed a lot. Though if you see the classification process, I must say it was there earlier, but now it is being included. Classification process is somewhere similar to ICF, International Classification of Functioning. So it is somewhat similar. When we classify, we do see all this like parameters. So earlier it was restricted to the treatment approach. Now it is like performance goal-oriented treatment based, instead of only like goal to a particular area of a social physical well-being. It is related to performance now. So that's how the India is developing. That's how our physiotherapy is developing, and the approaches, or I would say rehabilitation-based advanced technology or the assistive device related to this, there has been a lot of change. I would say in the last 4 years, there has been more change, and that's how the Paralympic medal tally is much more going ahead than earlier.
My next question was that only. How do you think physiotherapy has now evolved, and what role does it play in not just from recovering from the injury, but also to enhance the performance of our athletes?
See, for enhancing for parasport, it depends upon like what type of impairment they have. Then next will be which type of event they are playing.
Okay.
It will be which type of sports. Okay. For a people with the spinal cord injury, the wheelchair users, they have the different category. For them, the assistive devices will be different. For a person, if I say for cycling, they have the hand cycling category. For shooting, they use the wheelchair. In that also, there are some particular dimension which they have to abide according to the trunk control. Maybe the backrest will be not there, backrest will be there. And other, I would say, related to the lower limb disability, again, it will differ. If they are using prosthetic, the category will change. Their sport-specific demands are different. The injuries will be different. So based upon that, their prosthetic limb designing will be different. And that training and strength conditioning will also differ. And the devices which we use them for training, that will also change. So that's how it differs sports to sports.
Okay. Ma'am, and how do you build trust with these athletes who have been experiencing, who had an experience of some negative event or any trauma in the past because of their disability?
Yes, that's a quite tough questions. So I believe, again, like if you see the people who have acquired disability at congenital, they are adapted to it. So I've observed like they are adaptive, and they can adapt quickly. Whereas the people who have acquired trauma, in that case, we have to counsel more. We have to get more. Though there is this difference between the people. And again, the next thing also I've observed, like at what time of the phase of life they have taken up para sports. Because sometimes the expectations are different for the sports. Some acquire to take up participate sports because they want to prove something. Some want inclusion, some want respect. So it depends like at what stage they have taken up, and based on that, we have to help them out uh, mentally. But most of the time, they are mentally very strong.
Very strong.
Very strong. Challenges come during during the competition time, like the in season, like before the competition, which is very normal, like performance anxiety will be there. So that we have to work out with the help of the team, with the psychologist. And sometimes for the new athletes, when we do a talent identification, we do keep the counseling session to create the knowledge about the para sports, and about or maybe a motivational talk with the fellow athletes who have gone through the same with the same kind of disability, with the same kind of sports, and what they can expect and what will be the possibility of future consequences of different sports. So that's how this way we work out.
Okay. Now, our next question is, how do you assess and adapt treatments for athletes with different types of disabilities?
Okay, assess. For the assessment, again, it depends upon the impairment and the type of sports. So suppose for hand cycling, I would say majorly they have the injuries related to the upper body because they use the upper body. In that also, there are different categories like H1 to H5. So H1, H2 are the categories where the lower limb is not working at all. Like lower wing will be having more disability. They belong to the higher disability. Well, all the four limbs are not working. Okay. So in this case, the assistive devices like a kind of mirror they use as a rear mirror, so they can ride. Like for the hand cycle, they do the pedaling with the hand. Okay. So as four of the limbs are have impairments, so upper body they can use the glue. Okay. Similarly, same if we say same impairment disability for different sports, like for the athletic. So there is category for this kind of disability where all the limbs are occupied. They can do the club throw. So that is also a para athletic event. So with similar disability, they have different options. Now during talent identification, we have to observe like which one is best for them.
Okay.
So assessment. So when we do classification, that time we come to know which one will work best for them, which sports will work best for them. So yeah.
So, ma'am, when any athlete comes to us, do we recommend which sport or which is the most suitable performance-oriented?
Yes, yes, we do. We can recommend it based upon the classification, talent identification, based upon their fitness, based upon their interest, based upon the availability of infrastructure, because these all things matter, and how long he or she wants to play into sports, where the medal opportunity is there. All these factors we do take care, and then we give them like so and so sports. There are actually 28 para sports.
Okay.
So yes, so depends upon that we assess and we give them which one they can take. Depend upon like where where there is a less chance of the injury. So classification, one of the goal is that the sports to be taken, that sports to be given to them, which we can refer them where least injury can happen.
Did you come
That's how.
across any situation where you felt that this particular athlete may not be able to perform in this particular sports event, but the athlete was very keen on doing the very sports event? This could be a bit tricky.
Yeah, they are highly motivated. Like this particular section of population, they are always motivated and they do it as such circumstances has been not there, because when we classify, we do take care of those things. But there is a chance of changing the category. Sometimes it might happen, like as I said, for the hand cycle, for example, H1, H2. Because of a training for long period of time, they might change to other category.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So when we give them any sports, that particular sports have some category. And when, if suppose I'm giving them H1 category, where I believe that because of the training, like suppose for the cerebral palsy condition or the spinal cord injury, there is a chance that they will improve after some particular period of time. So that category might change. So that time they get a review category. And so the sports department and we as a physiotherapy should also look after the classification and then training status also when when we train them for sports performance enhancement.
I mean, dealing with persons with disabilities, I think their family members play a very, very important role. So,
That's a big role.
so how for athletes we try to involve the family members also, and what role do they play?
Yeah, they play a big role, because without family support, it's very difficult to sustain in sports. Because many of the wheelchair users, they require a lot of support. For example, I would say if any athlete who is a wheelchair user, they have to reserve their energy during the competition. So that time they have to make sure it is not them who are only going alone. There have to be someone who is helping them from their family as a caregiver, because or else it makes tough for them to whatever the practice they have done so far in their training routine. One is this. Other is like for the performance, for emotional well-being also. If family support is there, it becomes much easier to encourage them, to guide them, and for the long-term career span, it is helpful for them. And sometimes feel because of less awareness, family doesn't support. So if we counsel and create the awareness among the family, they understand and they support much better. There have been situations where they ignore, but after achieving the medal, the family has started supporting. So this change has been created lot many times. There are things.
Ma'am, at any time, do you, if you feel that you need break, please let me know because it's a continuous
Yes,
class.
no problem. No, you can continue.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. So my next question is, what type of technology or any kind of equipment do we have for our para athletes, which are slightly different from a regular practice?
Yeah. So, see, again, for the people who are for different sports, for different para sports, there are different adaptive devices, different adaptive sports devices. For wheelchair lawn tennis, if I say, the sports wheelchair are different. The alignment of wheel is different. For shooting, if I say, again, the modification, like everything has been modified according to the sport specific goals or according to the impairment, which has been abide by under the rules of International Paralympic Committee. For the cycling, it is different. For badminton, if you see the cycling, the prosthetic leg which we use, that is different. Whereas for the badminton, it is different. For athletic, for the blade runners, those things, those prosthetic things are different. Whereas for the upper limb, for the shooting case, they will be using a kind of assistive device like a standing stool they will use, where they place the rifle and then they shoot. For cycling, if we use as they have to use according to their body dimension. So according to that, according to the prosthetic leg, again, according to the impairment, If there is a limb length discrepancy, again, um, the ankle and the crank frame lever of the cycle that have to be adjusted. So for every sports, there is some modification is there, and there are the guidelines which have to be followed, or else your category changes, or else your performance changes, and the performance plan training have to be according to that. Because when we give any category, there is a thing we do check the adaptive device what they are using. There is an adaptive check differently, which are being recommended by physiotherapists and prosthetists together. Sometimes, because to enhance the performance, we have to design those adaptive devices in a different way to cut off any resistance, air resistance in cycling, whereas in the running field, there are different parameters we have to look after. About the technology, I would say, like for the nutritional perspective, I've observed for the people who are prosthetic, who use prosthetic leg, we normally don't use the normal Karada skills. We do use in-body EMG based skill. So those things are there. There are different things.
Ma'am, would you like to share any one experience of you working with any para athlete which you feel that this is something which is very memorable, or this is something which every viewer or every audience should be aware of or should know?
Uh, See, from every event, I have learned something. So recently a week back, we went to uh, participate Asian Championship. So, and we won 8 medals for our country. That was a massive good thing.
Congratulations on that.
Thank So, we have observed like athletes, they go through a lot, and so particularly with this spatial population, they always like to be called them as an, instead of person with disability, if we call them as an athlete, they feel better. It is a kind of like, instead of showing the sympathy, have empathy to them, show the self-respect, give them the equal opportunity, respect for their hard skill and the work they are doing, and the equal rights. So that made me realize, because there was some situation where we felt like, because during just before the event, before the race starts, there will be a performance anxiety, there will be a rush of different emotions. So how, as a physio, we encourage them to do the warm up, and what words we use, it brings a lot of change in improving their warm-up strategies, and then encouraging them to do the get best one, what we expected during the off-season training phase. So that's what this was my experience. Yes, it does matter, because in previous, like I would say at world level games, it happens when we work as a physio team. We do understand, oh, our athletes are not listening to us. They don't want to do it. So those things, it is not like that. They want to do, but giving instruction and planning the things off season is different, whereas before the competition is different. And working with a spatial population, we need to check all those things, see what we can do to improve this. It is kind of like behavioral pattern observed through the treatment and performance strategies, how to keep up with it.
So, ma'am, we have a lot of students, we have a lot of physiotherapists who aspire to work in the very field, working with para athletes. So, what would be your advice on how these young physiotherapists should start? What should be their first step? and who they should look up to. Of course, now we have you, but since there are very less people who are actually working in the field, so can you just guide our young physiotherapists who are our viewers as well?
Absolutely, sure. So I feel the young generation, the young physiotherapist, they have amazing ideas. We can't deny that. It's just that they have to follow their instinct. Yes, for the para sports, you have to gain experience, work closely with the para athletes,
Hmm.
contact your nearby federation to gain the experience. You can definitely contact me or the foundations. And now many physios, like within this 4 year spans, there are many physios who have taken up the para sports. So that's how they can build up, stay updated with the knowledge through International Paralympic Committee, where you can take up more research topics. That's how.
Yes, so I think research is again something which everybody needs to consider. Plays in very
Right. So one part, every time whatever we are doing for the able body, it have to be done for the para sports also. There will be much change, and I see that's how we will get more athletes to the global stage, and that's how our India will be at the top in the Paralympic in 2036. And I guess that uh, already the strategies have already started this goal.
right, ma'am. Right. According to you, what do you see as the future of physiotherapy in the world of para athletics?
It is rapidly increasing. It's
Rapidly.
not, I feel like we have so many different fields in physiotherapy. Everyone can contribute in some or the other way. Because if you see, if uh, neurological conditions are there, in that time, the neurological assessment is required from the neurophysiotherapy. Okay. And then overall also holistic approach anytime the community physiotherapist. And for the sports performance enhancement, sports physiotherapist. Cardio related will be the heart rate variability, and then related to other parameters, how the recovery strategies can be worked out, how the enhanced high altitude training where we have taken up help from the cardio physiotherapist. There are many the women's health for uh, women athletes. That will be a great thing. And I know how the AI technology has been taken up, and it will slowly, though our human healing hands will be anytime best, but there will be in future, it will be like it will be a combination of both of this, and high advanced performance related uh, technologies will be there in coming future, I believe.
Ma'am, how do you envision your career evolving in the next coming maybe 5 to 10 years, and what are the goals you would like to achieve?
Uh, Always, I would love to have India at the top of medal tally. And the second, I think there are 28 sports physiotherapists, all the physiotherapists, please do listen. Take up one sports which India has not much athletes. Go work with those athletes, give those as the option. Because out of 28, only 5, 6 sports I believe are being like much aware, whereas other sports are developing. So we are the one we can help and get aware. We have the knowledge, but we just have to move little, push our limits little harder and go and create the awareness and work with the athletes and can build up new policy, new strategies to develop our physiotherapy society.
Great, great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening us and making us self-aware as well as guiding us on how our young physiotherapists could go about and what are the different aspects we need to consider. So I think coming to the end of our interview, I would like to thank you for giving us your valuable time for coming and joining us. And thank you so very much, ma'am, for the interview.
And the whole team of Sancheti, it has been always honored to share my experiences. And thank you for always considering me for this. Thank you.
Thank